Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this fifth webinar on digitalization of higher education sector. My name is Benedetta. I'm a colleague from EY in charge of organizing this webinar. Today we'll have actually three speakers delivering two speeches. The first will be Thijs from University of Groningen, and the other two will be Professor Attaianese and Illario from University of Naples. Laura, good morning. I'll give the floor to you if you want to give a brief introduction or just to say something.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Laura Mattini from ABRA, the Italian agency for the promotion of European research, and we're coordinators of the CATALISI project, within which this webinar is organized. I will just share some slides to give you some brief context of CATALISI and the project. So, hope you can see my slides. Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, ABRA is the coordinator of this project, and we're an association of more than 150 members, among which the most relevant players in the research and innovation field in Italy. So the project aims to support universities, higher education institutions in Europe, in their process of institutional change through the adoption of what are considered to be innovative and targeted acceleration services. So the main goal is to support the change in the governance of universities by supporting them in adopting an individual strategy and pathway for the change to occur in different areas of the research and innovation realms. We have 11 partners across 8 different European countries. 3 of them are widening countries, Greece, Lithuania, and Poland. And we have 4 facilitators, ABRA, Erminia Attaianese, who's the organizer of the webinars, and 7 universities which are intended to be permitted to implement changes in their universities across during the different phases of the project. As I was saying, the idea and the support comes from acceleration services, which are provided by facilitators. These are 7 different acceleration services, which are characterized to be targeted, but also innovative. The one which we are in today is the one related to the reinforcement of human capital, capacity building, and outreach. So the idea is to give universities the skill set, the capacities to be able to implement changes in the areas of research and innovation in the universities, but also to be able to spread the research results and therefore to connect with the other societal actors beyond academia. So as I was saying, the main goal is to support skills and capacities within universities, and we do so in the specific acceleration services through the adoption of 3 main activities, which are educational and learning activities. The first one is the one related to the event of today, which is the Learning Hub, and it's the provision of online recorded webinars in the 14 intervention areas of CATALISI. So this is one of the 14 that we are organizing, and the idea is to provide higher education institutions, both within the project but also outside of it, tools to be able to implement changes in their governance. Then we have twinning schemes, which are intended to be peer-to-peer exchanges between universities, and finally mobilization and mutual learning events where universities are able to disseminate their results and to share good practices with other societal actors. Finally, you can find all the recordings in the CATALISI website. You can, if you've missed the previous ones, we had one on gender inclusion, one on open science and digitization of research, one on recognition and qualification of research careers, and the previous one to this was on the reinforcement of the role of universities in local innovation ecosystems. So I'm happy that you're all here. I hope you enjoy the webinar. And finally, we also want to keep in touch. We have a community of practice where we gather enthusiasts and experts of the area of higher education institution transformation. So you can go in our website and still join to be a member of it. So you can get informed and keep in touch also through this other means. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Laura. But I think we can start. So, Thijs, I'll leave you the floor, and please, you can start with your speech.
Thank you, Benedetta. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope you can now see my first slide and that you can hear me well.
Yes, I can. I mean, I guess we can all hear you loud and clear, and we can see your screen.
Great. Yeah, so it's nice to be here and talk a little bit about how to implement, so to say, digital as a strategy in higher education. And I once was asked to provide a title for a magazine, and then I came up with maybe the uninspiring, but maybe still one that fits. It's Digital Strategy in Higher Education Beyond the Hype. And maybe as a brief introduction of who I am, I work at the University of Groningen. I'm also the scientific director of our business school. We provide degree programs, open programs, and in-company programs. And I have to guarantee the quality, so to say. And I'm also the program director for our executive MBA. And normally I do write down my research interests, but my educational interests lie in the field of innovation and technology, how to adopt it, and also in maybe maintaining educational quality. And if I look back at when I started in 2000, so to say, really teaching. Then I recall that in the 2000s there was the internet coming up, and one of my colleagues, he even warned for a tsunami of e-learning providers. So then you had Coursera and other fancy universities, Singularity University, I think, started, and many campus-based universities were like reconsidering, is this an existential threat? If we look now, so we jumped over, so to say, and make use of internet now also in our teaching. We're maybe now at a different crossroad in which we are confronted with the AI warning. And maybe people can learn one-on-one with an AI kind of robot or 3D avatar for the time being. And that's why I'm also not so much talking too much about AI, is that I believe that the combination of teachers and AI will still, like for the 5 to 10 years to come, be better than just that we are being replaced by robots or etc. And so I still believe that we have something to contribute, and that we need to actually adopt and make use of these technologies, because they do provide real value to students, but also to staff. By the way, if you want to interrupt me or make a question, please feel free to ask, because that will make it more lively. But the picture that I want to display is that, okay, we have had these shifts with technology. Sometimes they led to existential crises, but most of the times we figured out ways in how to integrate it into our teaching. And that is, so to say, also a little bit the topic that I was a moderator of in December 2023. I was invited at the EduTech conference in Amsterdam, and it was also a discussion focused at the global outset, like how do universities align assets, involve stakeholders, develop the expertise needed to effectively deploy technology. The discussion was also very much focused on how to embed technology or data or tools to enhance the customer learning experience and support staff and students. It was not so much on saving costs or becoming more efficient or scaling up and down based on changes in the student inflow. That was less the topic, and also less the topic of today. And based on these meeting that I hosted, I actually came up with 5 overall lessons, and they're very broad, but I do believe that they provide nice insights to further discuss. So it's a baseline, and I hope to discuss them a bit further with you. And I will go through one of them each. The first one is embrace digitalization as a continuous process. And here, I think the key takeaway is that digitalization is an ongoing transformation and not a single project. So the universities that treat it as, we're going to do it in just like 2 years and then we're done, often they fail. You need to see it as a continuously updating challenge in which you have to face the day-to-day challenges. You need to update and upgrade the infrastructure. You need to staff train, so to say, the skills of the staff. You need to dedicate resources for a longer period of time. And sometimes you have political shocks that are happening in the Netherlands that create a huge impact on the available money. But yeah, you're in it for the long haul, and you need to. That was one of the takeaways from the people there, is that you need to immediately integrate and link it to education and educational quality. So the picture that you see on the bottom right, what's up at FabCon, is like a group of education quality managers that try to link across all programs and put in like themes like AI, or maybe indeed, as you also mentioned, the gender issue, or uh, topics that are relevant and that affect, so to say, education and quality. And then you build up some kind of a repository of knowledge that people can relate to, and it's often fun. You shouldn't overdo it. So they have, I think, 5 meetings a year, but to me, they're very insightful, and I try to be there. The second lesson that I took away from that day was that digital strategy should align with corporate strategy. And this makes sense, but it also differs per university. And often universities do not think of it because they have so many stakeholders, and the one that screams the loudest gets most attention, and the needs maybe to develop some kind of digital project. But it, of course, and that's why they are between quotation marks, differs whether the university is focused on optimizing student performance. And maybe they want that students do not leave after the first year, and they use data analytics for it. Our university, after COVID, we realized that we are a campus-based university, and we need to develop, so to say, and prepare students such that their experience that they do have on the campus, which is rather expensive with all the teachers, needs to be optimal. As it needs to bring in the most returns, so to say, in their learning experience, but also in how they experience the university. But others might be like, we're in it for the preparation for the future job market, and we need to establish the 21st century skills. And that's maybe now, and that's also way more financially based. We need to build in the flexibility to absorb inflow fluctuations. So when the inflow of students declines, how can we use our existing staff in an efficient way? Maybe we should provide them with more executive education teaching tasks. So what is important to consider here is the why. I think that everyone knows this golden circle of CNEC. The why determines like what tools or digital resources are relevant. So you need to incorporate it into your digital strategy. Then the third lesson is, you're not in it alone. You need to foster collaboration among stakeholders. And many universities do so internally, but they still find it a little bit dangerous to do it with corporations. And also they need to be, of course, objective, or find it difficult to let students teach the stuff. In the Netherlands, you have the Maastricht University, who has introduced already, I think, more than 2 decades ago, the concept of problem-based learning, in which the students prepare the lectures. So the teacher is just coordinating, and so far they've managed to actually make use of this valuable resource, and it works in a way. And the takeaway here is that please look around you, who are in your ecosystem, who can you work with, and can you align. And the MIT Media Lab, of course, they make use of it with a lot of technological providers. And on the left hand, you see a colleague of mine who introduced a Safari with another external pool, and they are very much interested in talents. And we are interested in bringing our students and preparing them for the job market by providing future employee spots. So we collaborate in that sense. And then you create the enthusiasm needed for digital projects. Then there was I think that many of you, and I'm quite curious about what you have installed at your university, but we have teaching innovation grants, we have sometimes a hackathon or ideation contest, or there's a lot of support for grassroots projects. And there needs to be built a culture that people are open to experimentation, and that if they fail, they still see it as an opportunity to learn from. So there needs to be some forgiving if things fail and not be punished. And many people say, yeah, this is really good. At the same time, during the discussion, it became clear that while this is very great for activating people, giving them the autonomy to experiment and to have these agile, quick learning loops, they also indicated that there's not that you can do all projects. You have to be a bit selective. And one of the persons there mentioned the quote of David Allen: "You can do anything, but not everything." And so you have to be selective in the projects that really contribute to your why, so to say, and say no to others, because otherwise it will get too dispersed, etc. This does mean that you sometimes have to disappoint people, but we think that if you do it with the right purpose in mind, that they will understand that not, these things should be promoted. Otherwise, you have a field of 1,000 flowers that will grow and in all kinds of directions. And after the first year, everything stops because there's not fertile soil to support it. And another thing of these, starting too many digital projects became that, and this is a quote of mine, so to say, that without an overarching strategy, it leads to fragmentation and inefficiency. I've seen it at I was like in the jury of.
Mica mi sentite, no? È chiuso, no?
Is it a question or?
I'm sorry, there was the other speaker that was trying to get on. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Everything's fine now.
Yes.
Sorry, Thijs, go ahead.
No, so I was in a jury of our teaching innovation grants, and then I looked at them and I was like, wow, we did this already 10 years ago. But for some of the departments, it was relatively new. So I'm not saying it's bad to do these contests. At the same time, you have to be a little bit critical of where to devote all your attention to. If you lose sight of the bigger goal of digital transformation, if you don't focus on the why, such projects may die out quickly. And then the last lesson, and that's a very obvious one, but you hear it over and over again, technology is not determining the success of digitalization. You need that everyone feels included. If you just deliver it for a select group, it will often fail. You need to think about the privacy of, also especially with the use of AI. Also, the sustainability aspects play a bigger role. Are we not harming the planet too much? And therefore, you need to balance, so to say, the technological progress and the human values. And in a way, you need to start by connecting to the people you do it for, being the students and the staff. They are actually the center of digital transformation. Yes? And often what they say in human resources and in leadership courses is that you need to make the connection. You need to explain why you do it in a terminology that is understandable to the staff and the students, of why we have chosen to actually substitute maybe some of the staff in this, and that you need to work with a chatbot. And you need to define the why and then move out from there. And then hopefully by having an authentic story that is also really coherent and consistently used throughout the organization, you can actually build that transformation that is needed. You get the support, you have other front runners joining you, and also the big majority, so to say. And then ultimately the operations and technology side will be there. And I'm a big fan of the American office. And then there's a scene of Michael Scott, the boss. He's working at the paper company, and he does a visit to a business school. And Ryan is the intern, and he gets bonus points if he invites someone coming over from the business to the lectures. And then you see that many people question a paper company, and then it becomes quite clear that it's a dying industry, the paper industry. But he then, at a certain moment, comes back to Ryan to say, a good manager doesn't fire people. He hires people and inspires people. And people will never go out of business. And we hope, of course, that will happen with AI as well. But that, to me, really stuck. And I hope that it signals the value of people in this digital transformation. So to wrap up, and then I hope to have some kind of a discussion. So to embrace digitalization as a continuous process means that you need to prepare your staff for the long run, and also dedicate sufficient resources to it, and have somewhat of a roadmap of where you want to be at what time. There needs to be a fit to what the digitalization aims and efforts are, with the why of why you do so. And that needs to be very clear from the beginning. You're not in it alone, so please make use of your entire ecosystem, not only your internal stakeholders, but also maybe your students and other companies that might help in actually creating momentum for digitalization. Be selective, and so do manage and provide people the freedom to explore the use of technologies. However, at a certain moment, you do need to contribute to your overall goal. And then the last one is, please, as a leader, you need to connect and lead. And so make the connection first of why you do so. Don't push it down like, we have to cut costs and this is why we're going to use it. No, try to connect and make a valuable contribution. Focus on real value, and then put the people central, and then the rest will follow. So don't often start, we have AI and we need to do something with it. What is the major aim, and how can technologies cater to that? So this is my presentation. I'm quite curious about your experiences, and also if you have maybe some additional lessons, or challenge some of the lessons that we consider to be present.
So I guess that we can move to the second part of our webinar. I see Professor Erminia Attaianese is already online. Please, the floor is yours. Please go ahead. And I see also, Prof. Maddalena Illario. Sorry, I didn't see you before. Welcome to this webinar. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So good morning, everybody. Erminia and I organized the split presentation, so I may share the floor, and then I will support Erminia to move the slides. Okay, so thank you so much for your interest in our activities. Our contribution will focus on the training needs that are emerging during the current transformation, the digital transformation of health and care, that is not limited to our knowledge of the technologies or how the technologies are used by people, but more to a more general change. And this change is related to an effort to address the current challenges we face in the healthcare sector. First of all, population aging, that is a success story of our healthcare system, but comes with more challenges in itself. that are partly intertwined with the health inequalities that we are witnessing for a number of reasons that are mostly social and impact health. And this is also something that relates to the shortage of healthcare personnel that probably needs that we look outside the healthcare system, but we will comment on it later on. So when we started to work in the partnership for the active and healthy aging, we were focusing on a triple win. That means changing our healthcare system to improve health outcomes and quality of life for our citizens, and while making our healthcare system more sustainable and efficient, and why not also stimulate ignite some dynamics for sustainable development linked to the health sector. And after more than 10 years, this triple win is still valid, because we have been looking in more detail to which are the components that can help us to ensure quality of the health of the services while saving some money, with a paradigmatic shift. So this approach can take advantage of some opportunities that we have nowadays. First of all, the twin transitions. Indeed, the digital and green transition currently give us the tools to ensure that a paradigmatic approach to health service provision is possible. It's not only an idea. And we also have the resources, because we have resources from Europe in the National Recovery and Resilience Funds to support large national projects. And we have been developing in the past years a stronger interdisciplinary approach that is rooted also into different levels and different environments to ensure that validated innovative good practices are transferred and customized. So as a focus on the demographic challenge we are living, we will start from this old graph that is a 1997 from a document of WHO of 1997 to show that if we want to achieve the highest result in terms of functionality in older age, we cannot wait until when we are old, but we need to start much earlier. And this is an important point, because it focuses active and healthy aging much earlier than older adults. It's since we are pregnant that we need to look better to the determinants of health. And these determinants only for in the dimension of 25% are related to genes. The remaining 75% are related to our behavior and lifestyles, and to the way we interact with the environment. And there is also, this makes the population of older adults a very diverse population, made of people who are not all the same, like many stereotypes want us to make us believe that frailty is a consequence of aging. It is not. It is not an inevitable consequence of aging, because if we approach active and healthy aging much earlier through healthy lifestyles, we can change our approach to health service provision from a reactive disease management that is hospital-centered towards a more proactive anticipatory care model that is based on risk stratification and around health promotion. This is possible but we need to ensure that not only the enabling technologies are adopted by professionals that are used to interact with other professionals across competencies and skills and education and training pathways, but also we are capable of implementing the organizational changes that make the use of these technologies easy. And I would like to focus on the fact that technologies are not only enabling, they can be a driver for change if we ensure that all the stakeholders are on board. So this, the need for innovative approaches derives from the consideration that when we are talking about proactive service provision, we are not not anymore in the hospital. We are outside of the hospital. This means that we need to reach for a number of professionals that are not in the clinical realm, but also outside, because health promotion can be carried out in many other settings. If we think, for example, just at the well-being, at the contribution that a number of activities bring to the perception of well-being, and can contribute to promote health, if we are capable of measuring the impact of these activities on health. So this is possible, and we can measure our health in different dimensions. If we can assess our health needs in an holistic way, this ensures also that the interventions are holistic. So we can take advantage of health need assessment as a multidimensional, in a multidimensional perspective, taking into account the environmental context where the health need is explicitated, and of the digital infrastructure that is available to develop and deploy innovative services. These interventions are multidimensional and are deployed during the life course and focus on health needs, but also on well-being and perceived well-being. And this is possible if we engage stakeholders not only at local level, but also at national and international levels to ensure, on one side, the organizational changes that are needed to implement at scale these new services, but also at international level, because we can speed up the identification of innovative good practices that are validated and can be adapted and customized to be implemented at local level. This is just one example of how we are approaching this holistic service provision through living labs. These living labs, we are working here in Italy, not only in Naples, but also through a project that is a project supported by the Italian Ministry of Health, and is focused on the establishment of a national ecosystem that includes also, besides the national platform and the tools, also a network of connected living labs. These were born in a European project many years ago, where we made the first effort to connect family and friends in the community with the healthcare sectors, and to train them, to educate them, to empower them to use the technologies. And we learned that for older adults in the community, it is very important to provide blended activities where they can learn how to use technologies that matter to them. So the content we co-created with them, and also to foster social interactions in person. And we did that through adapted physical activities and an education package that was focusing on cognitive functioning, on food and food intake, and strengthening the adherence to Mediterranean diet, and because Mediterranean diet is in their socio-cultural tradition, and adapted physical activity. Plus, and these three elements were intertwined with a number of digital tools that we taught them how to use. So these interventions on the biopsychosocial risk factors of frailty were building on physical activities, as we say, but we added more over time. We added mindfulness and psychological well-being. We added health literacy, nutritional counseling, IT literacy that is being more structured, memory training, and we are adding now a new helix, a new dimension, that is the built environment. Built environment is especially relevant in some populations at risk among older adults, because falls for older adults are a very critical event. When they happen, they can determine a severe loss of functionalities and reduced quality of life and higher risk of adverse health outcomes. So this is when we started to work with the Department of Architecture. And I can say that meeting Erminia was one of the most innovative things that happened in our community, because we could give a very different twist to the way we develop our use cases, because we added a new dimension. This is a matrix that is developed along an axis of time, that is the life course, and an axis of intensity of healthcare needs. And when we develop our older adults profile, this is just a chart that is summarizing the main health unmet needs of these older adults. We have a focus on digital literacy, but now we are adding a specific focus on the environmental components. So it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Erminia Attaianese, that from whom I have been learning a lot until now. Erminia, if you ask me when I will progress with the slides.
Okay, thank you, Maddalena. Thank you for inviting me to, including me in this interesting event. Yes, built environment can play a crucial role in health, and in particular reference for aging, for an active and healthy aging. We have experimented this integration also in some projects that are oriented to identify requalification project of existing building for creating a new environment for people that are pre-fragile, not fragile, but people that are more than 65 years, but in a multi-generational way, including young and students and young families. Go, please. So we know that at an international level that, as Maddalena told us, environmental condition and behavior affect significantly the people health and well-being at every age, because socioeconomic conditions and places, convention affect directly in terms of disease, risk of disease, but also indirectly in terms of quality of lifestyles. To personal characteristic and genetic factors, environments affect ability and capacity of people that are important element of health. This is only a general complex frame, only to demonstrate that a traditional approach to places, to the design of places for elderly is mainly founded on aging in place, or on put aged people in structures that are dedicated to them. So this is a traditional approach that just like a standard way of way to do, in which technologies are only elements that can be implemented or not. In the new approach, we are experimenting in this in the big project that Maddalena told us about, funded by Ministry of Research in Italy, AGIT. We are experimenting a new approach that is based on life course. This means that people have to be supported in their life, not only in the last stage of their lives, but during all the stage of life. of their lives. So this means that built environment and the places in which we live and work need to be designed and rehabilitated, thinking to the best way to grow, best way in which people can live and grow. And so this is a completely different shift of paradigms for architects and for healthy specialists, because we move the focus from the last part of the lives to the early stage of our lives. This can be a model that can depict this kind of approach already exists, and is the SHAFE approach. This is a model endorsed by European Commission in 2018, and combines promotion of smart and inclusive solution for the creation of age-friendly environments. And is mainly focused on the life course approach, regardless of age, gender, disability. So it's an inclusive way to conceive a living environment for people. In this this is a cost action that is net for age. This is the first application of SHAFE made of 4 working groups, as you can see, which goal is more than one. And just one today I will focus on the first, that is a user-centered inclusive design of age-friendly environments and community. This model, in this particular section, we can imagine to improve and to design a safe environment for active aging by developing new and requalification projects that are comfortable, inclusive in between spaces, for example, including outdoor spaces as determinant elements for health. For example, for walking and for spending some times of in open air, that is very crucial for our health, such as also indoor safety and well-being, element of built environment for socializing, healthy and pandemic proof, on the developing on the experiences of the COVID and the problem we had in our houses for the lockdown. And then, as you can see, the SMART is an important and integrated element of this approach, because all the functions, digital function and digital performance of the building need to be usable and health-friendly for all the population. This is an important point in order to improve digital solution in our lives. We experimented this model more than one time, but today we want to show you just result of one of these projects, that is some draws about a multi-generational and age-friendly lifetime home in Naples. All these projects are common approaches that are a process that starts from a convergent innovation approach, and that goes toward the integration between pervasive technologies and digital systems, responsive system to to conceive inside the building, and the realization of a sort of emergent dwelling that are a way to live that is very respondent in respect of all the environmental and social phenomena we are now affected by, and in all of this is translated in a design that is climate proof, user friendly, and comfort control, active and healthy, and multi-generational. In this is important to focus which are the contents that, for example, new architects, architectural students can have to focus to realize this kind of approach. That is ergonomic and human factor elements, and integrated with digital and pervasive technologies, and this is also for healthy professional students that have to acquire competence in built environment and the rule of the built environment for health. This process connected in this helix living environment with connected care, with the health safety and health systems in a multi-aging living. This is only some render about this particular project, this lifetime home in Naples, that is innovative in terms of not only in terms of technologies and spaces arrangement, but for the reason why we put together people with different ages, and they can stay together in a social and supporting way, a mutual supporting way. Maddalena, do you want to go?
Yes, just this is to say that from our experience, we have been we exploited the opportunities of the living labs to carry out some hands-on activities with students from multiple backgrounds, and they have been really stimulated and interested to be engaged. So maybe when we set up the new training and education pathways, we should also take into account that the new services for health will need multidisciplinary training and more hands-on activities to experience with the citizens, because whereas nurses, clinicians, and other professional figures of the healthcare system are used to interact with the citizen in relation to their health, there may be other professionals like architects, like some specially trained psychologists, other people from the cultural sectors that could engage in some activities, provided that they are trained to do so. And we experienced this with the personal trainers, for example, that were not trained to interact with the older adults with the high complexity of healthcare needs. So, and if they were not trained in a specific course of our university, they couldn't be involved in the prescription of adaptive physical activity. So we have at the core of this new integrated system training, education, and digital literacy. So this is both a challenge and an opportunity to further develop together. Thank you.